Hello, everyone, and welcome to Samuel's Racing Show. I'm Samuel Reiman. I'm joined by Mr. James Krahula, all the way from Texas, and that's quite significant, James, because Texas has been in the news a little bit this week, and we'll get to talking about that.
Oh, yeah, I have a lot to talk about with my hometown track. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on.
So there were three different series that were going on last weekend that I was watching. MotoGP, which saw another first-time winner. Well, not first-time winner, but first-time winner for 2020. That season is absolutely crazy. The 24 Hour of Le Mans, congrats to the number 8 Toyota team on winning that. I do wish there'd been more than 5 LMP1 cars. And the NASCAR race at Bristol, which ended with a nice little shootout between Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch. We've eliminated 4 drivers now: Cole Custer, Matt DiBenedetto, think I got that right, William Byron, and the one I haven't mentioned yet,
Ryan Blaney.
Ryan Blaney, thank you.
I was way off on Ryan Blaney. I had him at least going to the round of 8.
I, I
This
think some people, a lot of people did.
yeah, that's well, it's at least it's interesting. You can't predict what's going to wind up happening, but a big surprise there that 12 team was not able to do a little bit more with it.
I think some people had high hopes for Matt D as well, considering we were going to a couple of short tracks, which he's performed well in the past as well. I was, I was kind of hoping that William Byron would make it to the round of 12. I understand he won Daytona, and that doesn't prove anything really. You can win Daytona and still not necessarily be good at the other tracks, but there we go. He's gone. We've still got the likes of Eric Almirola and Alex Bowman in it, who I'm a little skeptical they'll make it into the round of 8. But they're off to Las Vegas this weekend for Sunday night race, which is a bit bizarre because I don't think there's a holiday unless we've added a new one. I think we need to do that in 2020. It's such a bad year. We need to just add some more public holidays while we're at it.
Yeah, well, we've been kind of off work and everything for like half the year, so yeah, why not just call it a holiday?
Yeah, that's it's probably cheaper than doing some other kind of stimulus. But let's not talk too much about politics here. Let's get straight into the world of NASCAR, because even though there's really only one significant on-track story, and that's that the racing between Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch at the end of Bristol was pretty good, there's been a ton of off-track stories, including Bubba Wallace, LeBron James,
LeBron James.
yeah, the 42 car, Texas, Kota, and you found another couple on the internet as well. Where do you want to start, James?
Well, hold on. What's the story about LeBron James? I missed this. You mean Michael Jordan?
Maybe I
Wrong,
mean, yeah,
wrong
maybe I mean Michael
23.
Jordan. Yeah,
Wrong
sorry.
23.
Yeah, well, there we go. That's I'm going to use that as my excuse. I was thinking of a number 23 because
It's okay.
as soon as I saw the news, right? As soon as I saw the news, I was thinking, well, what number is this car for Bubba Wallace going to be?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, yeah, 23. So I'm sorry.
No, let's start that rumor here. LeBron James is going to be starting a NASCAR team.
Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, they're gonna have Quinn Houff drive the car. So let's just start the most crazy rumor that we can. But no, yeah, that's I thought that was the craziest silly season rumor when that leaked on Reddit a couple of weeks ago. I was like, there is no way that Michael Jordan is gonna be in with that. Just sounds like pure blown conspiracy theory. Someone's just bored at home from the quarantine. What's the craziest storyline that I could think of? Diddy Hamlin and Michael Jordan are going to buy a cup car and they're going to put Bubba Wallace in it. I thought, no way. And then now it's true.
Yeah, it's interesting that, they're jumping straight into the Cup Series like this in team ownership. In the long run, I'm almost thinking maybe this would have been smart to do something in Xfinity. I understand why they want Bubba Wallace as their driver, and he's a Cup driver with everything going on right now. It's going to be great publicity. I'm just not sure they're going to perform too well starting a brand new single car team in the Cup Series. Obviously, Denny Hamlin has lots of notes to go off of as a driver, but not necessarily as a crew chief.
Yeah, and well, There's a lot of things to dissect here. I think the reason that they did go in and start with the Cup Series is the stars kind of aligned. I'm sure that this was in Denny Hamlin's thought process for something he's going to be doing in the future. But when the stars aligned with Germain Racing closing shop and selling their charter, Bubba Wallace having a lot of sponsors that he is able to take with him, and a very solid driver. You know how well he did when he was in top tier equipment in the truck series, of how many wins he wound up getting there. So next year is going to be, now we'll see how the rules are kind of set up, because there's a lot of murky water on what they can and cannot do. So that's not considered a fifth JGR car, but they're going to probably be getting at least a lot of help from Toyota, which means honestly that you're getting a lot of help from Joe Gibbs Racing. You're probably going to, be getting a lot of hand-me-down cars from either, Levine Family Racing, or maybe old Joe Gibbs Racing cars. But they only have 1 year until now we have the next gen car coming as well. So I don't think they're going to be spending a lot of resource. Well, they can't go out and just build like the best new stuff when it's all going to be obsolete in a year. Next year is going to be a building year. They're going to wind up, especially getting the right crew members in place, the right personnel, people that are going to be running that team, because it's not going to be Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan that are going to be running the day-to-day operations. They're going to be kind of the bigger picture people. So who's going to come in there and run that team and put the
Ron
right
James.
people? Yeah, LeBron James. LeBron James, exactly. Who are you going to come in and to run that operation, find and put the right people in the right places, go through the motions and find out what you need to do, and then really attack 2022 hard with that next gen car. So no, I don't. I expect him to be running, right where he is probably this year, with that Richard Petty equipment. So they're going to be, right around the 15 to 20th position next year. But in 2022, it's going to really get evened out. And if they do what they're supposed to do this upcoming season, I could look and see them, competing for top fives, maybe even a win or two each season. Once we get the 2022 with that next gen car.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame to be honest, because I know that, Bubba Wallace has been in the news a lot, not just NASCAR news, but he's also made the national headlines and in some cases even international headlines with his actions, and some people have viewed them as controversial and pick up any opportunity they can to kind of hate on Bubba Wallace. And I have a feeling a lot of people next year are going to be quick to point out, like you say, if we do see Bubba running around position number 20, that, oh, this
Mhm.
isn't working out. Oh, this was a stupid idea. So I hope in the grand scheme of things, you're right in that that they're going to save things up to perform better in a couple of years down the road. And honestly, I think in motor racing, that's normally a smart thing to do, especially with the 22 regulations changing, not just in NASCAR, but Formula One as well. I want to see Ferrari suck next year in Formula One, because if they are, then that's telling me they're focusing on getting everything ready for 2022.
Yeah, this is uh that's the only hope that you really have as a Ferrari fan right now. It's just hoping for 2022. It's really sad to see them running where they are right here. So but yeah, and those are the exact same people that are going to be hard on Bubba Wallace if he runs in 20th, which is where he is expected to run next year. In my opinion, there's the same people as like, well, hopefully they get someone in that 43 that can win. The 43 is not capable of winning unless they win up on a restrictor plate track. He was overperforming in that equipment when he was in top equipment in the truck series. He was competing for wins and getting a lot of those wins. Beat Kyle Larson on the dirt in Eldora, his first ever dirt race ever. The guy can drive. And I'm very excited to see this opportunity coming up for him. And I think that next year is not going to be the position, but I think that in 2022, 2023 at the latest, that team is going to be getting and hitting their stride. And it's going to be interesting. And that's really going to be the time to see, okay, well, how good is Bubba Wallace?
Well, I do want to throw another couple crazy rumors out there since I just touched on Formula One a little moment ago. I saw that Lewis Hamilton was one of the ones to congratulate Bubba Wallace and Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin on what they were doing. So I'm always wondering, is Lewis Hamilton going to give NASCAR a go when he retires from F1? I'd love to see him do a couple of races, and I think he'd be interested in it. And the second note I want to make is talking about the day-to-day operations of the team and who's going to do that. I would like to see Bugs Bunny, the Roadrunner, and Marvin the Martian. I think they could all, they could work on the PR, the speed, and the technology of a race car and get it up to speed pretty quick.
All we know is that the soundtrack for this race team is going to be amazing.
I believe I can. Okay, we're blocked on YouTube. All right. Where do we want to go next with that, James? Shall we go to the whole Kota speculation? Well,
Uh,
it's not even speculation now at this
Yeah,
point, is it? Yeah.
I think we're officially confirmed now. So the news that Texas Motor Speedway is going to lose one of its points races. They're going to make Eddie. Yeah, I know. I live 15 minutes away from this track. I've been every single year, multiple times since 2001. This is my hometown track, and the racing is so terrible that when I was on the property doing commentary for a Legends Car event a few years ago, I had free tickets to that cup race that was happening later that day. All I had to do was walk from the back stretch to the front stretch, go inside, and I could have watched the race. And I wanted to have nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it's a long way to walk.
It's I mean I drove out of the speedway in opposite traffic as the only one leaving the speedway just because the racing has been so poor at Texas. So I think that it's absolutely great. And also like I feel like I'm dogging on Texas Motor Speedway. They tried to do something different. They realized, oh, these cookie cutters, we screwed up with these years ago. We need to find something else to make it more exciting to give. But they went with like the new cookie cutter and they just kind of did reverse Kentucky. But the geometry just does not work out. And I appreciate the guts that Eddie Gossage had to try something new, but it did not work. And so they're going to have the All-Star race there. It'll be interesting to see what Eddie Gossage decides to do with that All-Star race because he's kind of the new Humpy Wheeler as far as crazy ideas for events. So they're going down to one points race a year, and I'm guessing that the only way they could get Eddie to be okay with Coda, who he has said so many horrible things about in the past. They're going to be getting the second points race that the Texas got. So we're going to be heading down south 3 hours to Austin, and so I think that's a great move. I know that we tried this out in one of our racing leagues a few years ago to run the Cup cars at Circuit of the Americas. A lot of interesting racing, a lot of really spread out racing. So we'll see. I did not have Coda as a possibility. I never thought that that would happen, but I'm very excited to see that. I know that I believe that they're taking the spring race, which is around the time IndyCar is going there. So I'd be very interested to see if this can wind up being that IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader that both series so desperately want and the fans want in the future. I think that that's going to be good. But yeah, the rumor and from Matt Mayer from CBS is saying that including Nashville and Circuit of the Americas are just two of at least four potential new tracks coming for next year, which I find very exciting beyond that.
Yeah, before we get into speculation on what those tracks were, I want to comment on a few points you brought up. I think if you want to change your track from being a typical cookie cutter track, you don't need to flatten the banking like I did at Texas. You need to raise it. We need to have like a bunch of hot lanterns out there. Then I think that would make things a little more entertaining with these cookie cutter circuits. I don't think I'll do that for the All Star race. It sounds like a lot of money, but it will be interesting to see what they do to make that happen. The second thing you pointed out about doing a cup race on Kota at on iRacing and how things got spread out, I've got to admit, as much as I love seeing NASCAR cars go road course racing, I don't think Kota is going to be the most exciting road course race we're ever going to see. And that's why I kind of like your idea of doing a double header there with Cup cars and IndyCar. I'm not sure, even if I was a local resident of Austin, other than what going there to watch the first race because it's history being made, I would want to buy a ticket to see future races there. I think it would be almost a traditional road course race there. Even Formula One races there get a bit of a reputation as being boring. Although there was that one year for one race like 4 years ago
Mhm.
it was like half wet, and I think they had 12 cars finish. Um, but I think selling that race in the future as, hey, this is the race to see IndyCar and NASCAR race on the same weekend, I think I would definitely buy a ticket to go and see something like that. So maybe that is something Kota could definitely look into. And then, yeah, you mentioned all these new tracks coming on board, Nashville and what was the Gateway you said?
No,
Or we
so
won't get into that yet.
yeah, so
Yeah.
so the two confirmed that we have next year are Nashville Super Speedway, which I think was a smart move by Dover, because Dover was probably going to wind up losing one of their two events. So let's move to Nashville, which is a market that we desperately want to be in. We want to be at the fairgrounds, but you know what? We own Nashville Super Speedway as well. Let's move down there so we get to you know, maintain our two events that we have. So Nashville and Circuit of the Americas are the two of at least four, if this rumor is to be believed, that we're getting at least four new tracks next year. That should be the other. Those are the two confirmed. So Gateway's not confirmed, but I've heard that highly on the rumor list. The most interesting one that I have heard is a apparently a very close to being done deal. Well, Road America too, but the one I find the most interesting as well is the Milwaukee Mile.
Yeah, no, Gateway and Milwaukee are both interesting circuits. Even IndyCar puts on cool races there, and an IndyCar oval race can be hit or miss. But going back to IndyCar, you're talking about, hey, let's do a race at the Nashville Super Speedway. Let's steal that Nashville road course, that Nashville street circuit from IndyCar. Do a cup race there. That'd be something.
Going them flying down that bridge is going to be interesting. It's going to be a sight. So that's definitely with my Circuit of the America tickets for next year. I might have to go do that trip down to the Music City Grand Prix that they're going to have in downtown Nashville.
Yeah, so one real interesting thing that's happened from 2020 is, not just NASCAR but IndyCar, Formula One as well. A bunch of different series are racing. It changed their whole mindset, especially Formula One. Formula One was always rigid. It's like we go to this track, we go to this track. This track has to have this track has to do this. They haven't had the opportunity to be that strict in 20 yeah, in 2020. And so when you look at schedules for racing series next season, even the FIA World Endurance Championship, the series
Mhm.
that puts on the 24 Hour of Le Mans, they're racing at Monza next year. They have a points race at Monza. I don't think they've ever done that before. It is 2021 and 2022 are going to be really cool schedules coming out of NASCAR, Formula One, sports car racing, IndyCar, and we're going to see some races that we've never seen before, and I hope some of them stick around.
Yeah, you know, we're forced to adapt. If we were going to get the full schedule in for these series this year, we just had to say, okay, let's go try it. So Daytona Road Course, who didn't even run a practice lap there, we're going to go to the Daytona Road Course. Formula One going to how many new circuits this year? Also running the oval at Bahrain
Not an
as
oval.
well. Yeah, it's a everyone's calling it the oval,
Six
but
feet.
it'll be an interesting race because it's gonna be a lot of straights with that one. But if we were going to get the whole schedule in this year, you had to go to these events and you had to be very flexible with that. And I think that that has made it a little bit easier on everyone to go and try, something new with everything. Uh, and I'm really excited. I think that it's going to make them easier to go out and try a more extreme schedule for next year, especially with NASCAR. Uh, Realizing, oh wow, this has been very popular trying all these new tracks and this crazy schedule this year. I've even heard, the rumor that we're going back to Darlington in the spring. So I don't know if that means two Darlington events next year. You could think either a Freudian slip from Dale Earnhardt Jr. or it's an actual break in a rumor there, but they're willing to try something new, which is great because the schedule really has not changed since 2000, or probably 2001 when they added in Chicagoland and Kentucky. All that we've really done is just kind of take away a couple tracks here and there, and that's kind of been it. Now we're actually going to really be shaking it up and trying a whole bunch of new stuff.
I still think I wouldn't mind seeing NASCAR drop a schedule a few races. I think you could even annex 4 races, take it down to 32. That's a nice binary number. And if you lose a little bit of profits, you're not gaining from increasing ticket sales at the 32 races you do have, and increase it back. But I just think having a season that long kind of makes, the races in around race number 18 or race number 21, we're not really paying attention anymore, just waiting for the playoffs to begin. But I'm sure that's not NASCAR's priority right now. They're trying to see how many of those 36 races they can make as interesting as possible.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, James, when I look at the schedule this week, I don't have everything in front of me right now, but I know NASCAR's at Las Vegas. I know Formula One is at Russia, and the support divisions for those series, Formula Two is in Russia, the NASCAR support series in Las Vegas. There's nothing that's really blowing me out of the waters for this weekend. Like, oh, I have to watch that race this time around. The race I'm looking most forward to right now is tomorrow night's race. Lionheart is back for.
Finally.
Yeah, there we go. We're going to Chicagoland. I've never done. Okay, so let's explain to anyone who watches professional racing who doesn't know what the Lionheart IndyCar Series is. Lionheart IndyCar Series is an iRacing league that you can watch on the iRacing Esports Network or the Global Sim Racing channel. Both James and I are drivers for the Sim Racing Merch Esports team. We both drive now bright yellow cars, so we'll be easy to pick out among the crowd. And James, I actually went back and looked. I have never done a Lionheart IndyCar race at Chicagoland because the last time you guys all raced at Chicagoland, which is where we're racing tomorrow night, was in 2017, 2 races before I made my debut.
Yeah, Chicago. Okay, so you're in for it because Chicagoland has always been a really fun event in real life, and also here on iRacing. It's Chicagoland's a very very cool place. It's one that really has not been affected. Going to the new IR18 Delara chassis as well. There's going to be a lot of drafting, a lot of really close racing. It's it's almost kind of like a bull ring version of Michigan as far as IndyCar goes.
And if for whatever reason my Zoom recording fails and you all end up watching my OBS capture, I just pulled up samuelsracingcorner.com/schedules where I list all of the races coming up this weekend. One race I do want to say I'm looking forward to that I didn't mention before. MotoGP is at Barcelona this weekend, and MotoGP at Barcelona has seen some of that track has seen some of the more interesting MotoGP races in the past. So, James, we've talked about the news with the correct basketball player, Michael Jordan, and Denny Hamlin starting up a team for Bubba Wallace. We've talked about all the new upcoming races. We've gave the Lionheart IndyCar Series a shout out. we hadn't really touched on Ross Chastain going to the
Mhm.
42 team, but that just seems like a wise decision, to be honest. I don't think there's much to discuss there. What's your overall feelings right now heading into this week about the races coming up and the racing world as a whole? And do you have any thoughts heading into the round of 8 in NASCAR?
I mean, Vegas is just another track that is one of those check it off, go ahead and move on to the next one. It gets crazy as soon as we leave Vegas, though. I'm not there. The first round of each new or the first race of each new round is just kind of the excitement isn't there yet. We're not building up to the next one. And then Vegas is just one of those tracks that doesn't excite me that much. Barcelona is always a fantastic track as well. Glad that we have some more Formula One racing this weekend. Ross Chastain, I'm surprised, but I'm not surprised. I thought that they would probably at least wait for 2022 to put him in that car, but I guess just with the situation with Matt Kenseth not wanting to come back for probably another year, it was probably the right move to go ahead and put him in that car. So really, now we're just waiting to see who's going to be in that 48 car. That's the I guess the last really big question that we have. And then once we know who's going to that 48, I think that all the rest of the dominoes will have a pretty good idea of where everyone's ending up.
Yeah, one of the biggest rides on the grid, and not confirmed who the driver is going to be yet. I want to share one final thought on the Bristol race. Kevin Harvick won it, and a lot of people will be like, oh, Kevin Harvick won it. Well, we already know he's going to make a final four anyway. I think the bigger story there, James, is that Kyle Busch didn't win it. He finished second. We know how much Kyle Busch likes finishing second,
Mhm.
and he was very upset after the race, saying there's not a hope in this team of making the round of 8. I think the fact that Kyle Busch did not win that race is night and day difference as far as the championship is concerned. I have a feeling that had he won that race, he would have been like, we got this, we're back, we're going to make it to the round of 4. And just finishing one position back has completely seemingly demotivated him. And I think he's right that he may not make a round of 8 or may not make a round of 4 because he's not feeling it. He's not feeling that momentum. He's complaining. Um, I think the fact that that Kevin Harvick stopped Kyle Busch from winning was hugely significant last weekend.
And I'm going to completely take the opposite thing on there. I think that that was the best thing for that 18 car for them to not win at Bristol. You saw how mad Kyle Busch was. And whether you love or hate Kyle Busch, there is nothing more exciting than watching a really mad Kyle Busch drive a race car. I think that this round of 12, that 18 car, don't. You saw the anger that Kyle had after that race. I think that he's going to turn that anger into momentum that we are used to seeing from that 18 car. I see him not just making the round of 8, but I also see him going to the championship 4 after the way that I saw him at the end of Bristol. I'm not buying, we're not making a round of 8 stuff.
All right, well, there's our first little disagreement there. I'll compromise here. I think he'll make a round of 8, but I think unless he gets a win, which he may do, he won't make a round of 4. That's where I'll leave that. All right. I think we've hit just about every headline, James. Well, I'll let you get going and get practicing for Chicagoland so you can take some notes from me, and we'll be up front tomorrow night.
Let's hope so. All right. Take it easy, Sam.
Yep, you too.